Hello. Hi, it's Maria Peth here with Maria's Angelic Enlightenment, coming to you live this beautiful spring morning in May. I am going to be speaking a little bit about the hero's journey and how that supports our soul, how likening the hero's journey to soul journey can support growth and learning. And I want to use this a page from this beautiful book, Mary Magdalene Revealed, where in this book, the author Megan Watterson speaks about this idea of kenosis and how Jesus, expressed this ascension, the ascension of the soul, and so here we speak about kenosis being self-emptying. And when we empty self, we're actually considering the idea of releasing the ego. Our ego can be all consuming. It wants to win. It wants to be first. It wants to be right. And that is a premise that we are, sometimes taught and encouraged when we are younger. It's like, you want to do your best, and do your best doesn't mean that we have to be the best in the world. And our ego begins to be fed by, I'm the best, I'm the smartest, I'm the wisest, I'm the fastest, I'm the whatever, and having to like work up this channel of competition, where what is actually happening is kind of an imprisonment of your soul, an imprisonment of your freedom and the miracle of life and the grace of the Holy Spirit working with you and supporting your life actually is much more connected to the emptying of this need to feed the ego. And so the word kenosis comes, from Aramaic times and a definition of Hebrew, and is considered an emptying of the soul, or the emptying of the soul to love. So, as is expressed here in this beautiful book, page 75, the soul ascends because it does not seek to judge, nor does it attempt to dominate anything or anyone. And the soul cannot actually be harmed because it does not belong to the world of the flesh. We are here to attain the freedom the soul remembers. Freedom that the soul remembers. We do this by using the spiritual technique that Christ called kenosis, the path of self-emptying the ego to love. So I think that this is a beautiful, beautiful concept that makes a lot of sense to me, and the messages that I've been receiving angelically quite regularly about really staying in a center of love, of neutrality, of non-judgment. And when competitive, stressful, overwhelming human conditions that are ego-based come along, to empty the self of this, to let go of the pressure of this, is a freedom. And then we're free to really be authentically us. And the hero's journey, as we know, happened in the Christ story. And even in one of my favorite news stories, the Wonder Woman story, is very similar. And it is the same as it is for your soul, for your journey. You are the hero of your own soul. And that hero is going to go through some messy lessons. That soul of yours goes through some messy lessons. And we have a way of stifling the soul as our ego speaks up louder. And the soul says, I want to love. The soul says, let us combine grace and hope and joy and faith and belief in self and inner peace. Let's combine these elements and shine that and express that and allow that instead of competition or having to be right or judgment that tends to divide us. So the new earth, which we are currently in, about the 55th day, I think, of the new earth, is going through birth, is going through an actualization of herself, as are each of you. And our journey, our experience in this, our participation in this, is to remember who you are, that you are divine and that you are human. And these two combine to make an exceptional vehicle for understanding and empathizing with the world and with others, and at the same time having the ability to call on the lessons, the guidance, the support of God and the angels to awaken in us a greater awareness of grace in our lives, a greater awareness of love in our lives. To me, grace is a mystical, magical experience that happens when I pray or when I meditate or I'm reflecting more quietly in the support and in the arms of my angels and of God's light. And I have had to practice going there. I've had to practice quieting the mind that can be so busy and distracted and going into that more quiet, graceful place, the garden, the garden of my physical being, to the soul's light, to the soul's sunlight, to the soul's awareness. And that helps me to remember to not be so guarded or so defensive in this world, but rather to express or be more aware of the love that I can be, the love that I can express, the love that I can share. And when I say love, it's so much bigger than an intimate love. We are talking about an all-inclusive, unconditional love of being. It's a very difficult time in the world, as well as, messy time with this awakening energy. And people are, boisterously expressing themselves. And we've seen some civil disrest in some of our major cities, in particular one that's close to my home at this time, in Minneapolis. And Minneapolis had a horrible, outbreak of looting and rioting due to a very unjustified and horrible murder of a man in plain sight, where the whole world could see. And it was truly a mistake of the human condition. An ego got in the way of a situation and had to win. And then here's the loss of life. And had there been love and compassion and maybe just a bit of dignity and understanding in those moments before that horrific experience happened, then perhaps we wouldn't be in this civil unrest at this time. It doesn't happen to affect you directly or even me directly, but it does affect us to know that such horrendous experiences and acts are occurring. And in the face of the new earth, it's like, why would this happen? It's one of those messy places where we are given a lesson, again, in plain sight, to call on your love, to call on your higher self, to call on the soul to reason and love and bring joy and heal, instead of judgment and or acting out. So we, in the time of civil unrest that is happening on the outside, need to remember that on the inside, each of us has the power to bring grace into our consciousness, to bring a sense of love and support it through our love of whether we're praying for somebody else or whether we're sending love from the heart or whether we are genuinely watching this and surrounding the experience with a peace and praying for that peace. Prayer is powerful. Prayer is calming. Prayer does something physiologically to each individual, and we want that prayerful intention and grace to surround the cities to bring that calming and that peace that is much better suited for situations like this. But we are going to see some messiness in the birth of the new earth. We are going to see messiness and lessons, and as we graduate from one human condition to the next, we blend and experience and call more regularly on our higher self, which is the energy of the Christ, the God, the calling in of the Holy Spirit, the experience of the I am, the experience of the Father and Mother that are in fact watching and supporting and has our back. We've simply forgotten our divinity. We don't have to fight. We don't have to judge. We don't have to be bigger, better, and do worse and gain revenge on another. We can have peace and harmony, and we can have more unified sense of being if we are remembering the divinity within. And that is the path of the hero, remembering yourself, finding your truth, understanding your true power. And as each of the heroes in any story has ever done, we go through challenges, and each of us realizes that through the challenges we learn. And not to be repeating myself here, but to really emphasize the point that there are going to be challenges, there are going to be messiness, but if we ride above that, instead of getting into a lower physical, emotional depth or death, but rise above that to a soulfulness, then we raise everyone with us. We bring everyone with us, those around us with us, and we can shift the world. And each of us working from our premise can shift the world. And there will be more and more of us opening up, more light workers, more aware, awakened beings, and human beings who remember their divinity and bring that forth as a way to govern our countries, our world, our homes, and to reflect that. But it's a process, and we are in the center of it. Angels have said it is going to be about a 10-year process. And we think that 10 years can seem like a long time, but already, this year is almost half over. And so think about how quickly we can shift if we simply begin to embrace more love in whatever we do, wherever we are. The hero's journey is the journey of your soul. Baby your soul, nurture your soul, recall grace, and call in the angels and God's light to you on a regular basis so that you reflect that right where you stand, for the people that you influence, and in every avenue of your life. Remind yourself gracefully that is part of the awakening. I am divine, and I have the power to heal myself in many ways and to heal situations and things that are in my path. And as we each do that, the healing expands and the ripples go out, and more happens. And then we have pretty soon a whole nation, a whole world that is far more cooperative than we've had in the past. But this is where we're going, is towards equality, towards inclusion, towards involvement and connection and interconnectionness. But we have to remember, and again, we're in this human condition, we have many emotions, and we need to tame them. And and gracefully blend them as we take in the new energies. And the new energies are making us much more aware, more quick, and a quickening is going through us. And that is beautiful. I thank you so much for listening, either live or in the future. And may God be with you, and may you find peace, believing in yourself, your personal gifts, and your oneness that is the light that all of us need, participating together, connected as one love, one nation, one humanity. In your light and your love, I am grateful for your time. Be well and God bless. Maria Peth with Maria's Angelic Enlightenment. Um, Follow me on Instagram, Angelic Maria 444. And I also have a beautiful page on Facebook, Angelic Enlightenment, Maria Peth. Be well.